Hello, probers.
Howdy, howdy.
Welcome to But It Was
Aliens.
The extraterrestrial comedy podcast brought to you by two former MIBs. Allow me to introduce myself. Weighing in at over 200 pounds, I am the king of the street grannies, the prince with the perfect peach, and the bestest of best friends, Granny, a moonwalker.
You just blown me ears off.
And opposite me, as always, is the tall one,
The giant one.
the pumpkin spice princess,
Uh-huh.
the grey latte loving diva himself, the immaculately groomed grey bearded one with the bestest of best friends, Kev in the grey.
I have a question, very quickly before we start.
Yes,
Pumpkin spice?
it's around the time of year, isn't it?
Isn't that Halloween? Okay. Oh, shush. I don't like pumpkin spice.
Vanilla latte loving princess. See, I told you it was a diva.
I'm happy with that.
Fucking diva. Kevin the Grey.
Hello.
Today, probers, we're heading to Romania.
Romania.
We're going to a small commune
Commune or cult?
in the Varansia region
Of Romania.
of three small villages that I cannot pronounce other than the one we're probing today, called Nanesti. And I've probably said that wrong.
It's Nanesti. Nanesti. Aye, aye, aye.
Ay, ay, ay!
I have it on good authority. That's how it's pronounced. Nanesti. Hey, where are you from? Well, hello there. I'm from Nanesti. That's how you pronounce it.
On this day in
Romania. Nanesti.
well, this evening rather, of June 30th, 2001.
In Nanesti.
A motorist would notice something peculiar in the sky above, a strange red light that was glowing. The motorist didn't hesitate. They went straight to the press.
Bloody hell. They didn't even look at what it was. They were just like, nope, I'm calling the press.
Yep.
Why not the police or the army or something?
I mean,
How do you contact the army?
what are they going to do in this situation?
Probably attack it.
Exactly. So you go to the press.
And what are they going to do in this situation?
Write about it.
Well, how's that going to help you? You need this thing gone.
They're not going to start an intergalactic war, that's for one.
Well, it might just be the one. Destroy them before they can report back. That might start the intergalactic war if they report back. They've got water. Send everyone to Nanesti.
Or they'll be like, this is the last place they were. Let's send 3 of them down there just to check. So you destroy one and more come.
They never made it.
Bit of a dilemma.
Destroy those 3 before they go back and report.
What if they're already reporting? Like 24-hour news coverage. This is what we see here.
They're trying to kill us. We were going there to help them. Damn the people of Nanesti.
Well, this act of going to the press prompted a wave of activity the following day. Following the tip-off, journos and local television reporters would flock to Nanesti to witness this incredible light in the sky.
Was it incredible?
You'll find out. What the press would find perked the ears of some of the big dogs, and in particular, Asfan. The association...
Asfan.
The Association of the Study of Unidentified Aerospace Phenomena. And these mofos didn't mess about.
Where's the F come from?
Asfan.
Association, study.
Asfan.
unidentified aerospace phenomenon.
These mofos don't mess about.
Where's the F in Asfan? Am I missing something here? Association of the study.
It's fictional.
So, Azuap. Asfan. I'm so confused.
Sounds better than Azuap.
Association of the study of effing aerospace knobs with a N.
I love the fact that you also didn't ask where the N was.
Well, I didn't get that far. If they had a bloody F in there, I might have got that far.
Azuap. That's what it should be.
Asfan.
They realised that around the time of the sighting, a lot of residents would have been at home, as an extremely popular TV show would have been on. So they did what any credible group would do, and they went door to door.
If you show me a picture of someone going door to door trying to sell a pot, is that a member of Asfan? Buy this cooking pot. This has nothing to do with the case.
They went door to door. So I just grabbed a picture of a door to door
The first image that came up. No effort whatsoever. You literally click the first thing that came up. So Asfan went door to door.
They did. I'm fucking crying.
What popular TV show?
I don't fucking know.
Who's your source? My next door neighbour said this actually.
Asfan.
The Association for the Study of Freaking Aeronautics.
Freaky aeronautics.
That's completely thrown me. It's a dangerous practice going door to door, knocking on people's doors.
It is.
Because,
who could be behind that door?
well, the people you're speaking to don't necessarily have any evidence. They could just flat out lie to you about anything and you could end up with a really weird story.
They might already have pots and pans.
You're not going to make any money with that pot. You should start the other way around. Like, look who might have been there and not at least target the people you're interviewing. This is a really poor method, scientifically speaking. Yeah. I'd expect more from Asfan, who can't even spell their initials.
As these people were watching, it was around the same time that the motorists saw the strange glowing object. The residents were then thrust into darkness, a darkness that they were not ready for. Power outages weren't an anomaly here, but this one felt different. Most would normally last about a minute or so, but this one was longer. Residents, clearly annoyed, started to get up and go outside in frustration.
Ooh, okay, so there was a power outage across Nanesti. And everyone went outside in unison. So presumably everyone is going to see this. Was it a red light in the sky?
Yep.
That was the setting sun?
Nope. But a red light in the sky, yes.
Okay. It's a shame if there's a power outage because these people wouldn't have been able to use their new pots.
Depends if they cook them with gas.
Well, they'll need pots regardless, won't they?
And they'd be able to use them then, wouldn't they?
What sort of power outage was it? They could use the barbecue.
Charcoal. Fire.
But like the whole grid went out, I guess is what I'm trying to...
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just like the houses, the street lights, everything that's on a separate power line all went out in this area.
Everything went dark.
Man, if that happened whilst I was watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I'd have been a bit annoyed back in the day.
Yeah.
At least now, most things are streamed, so if the power
Shrug it
cuts, you can
off.
just pick straight back up where you are. But if the power went out during a live broadcast in the early 2000s,
Oh.
that show was gone until the reruns like 5 years later. Unless you bought the video Or the DVD.
It would be similar outrage to a TV station cutting to an advert mid-football match, coming back, and a goal had been scored.
Yeah.
Hello, ITV.
Did that happen? They put an advert in the middle of a game?
I think it was either Champions League or...
Oh, that's poor.
National game. I think I don't know why, but I think Stephen Gerrard scored. That's why, for me, it could have been Champions League or National.
That's weird.
But
you don't generally get adverts during games for that very reason.
Yep. But it was...
And they put 10 times as many in...
Dying moments of extra time. And then it cut to an advert and then came back and...
There'd been a goal!
I kind of want to look up what game it was now. It's going to bug me.
We're halfway through a probe, damn it.
I'll do it at the end. Calm your tits.
Now, what did Asfan do?
Once outside, they could clearly see the strange red object in the sky. Once more people were outside, the object would start to move slowly before it stopped and began spinning on its own axis.
Ooh.
Whether this was just happening or a response to the people coming outside, we don't know. The object would then stop and change shape entirely. Sort of.
Oh.
It turned into a ring which was segmented by yellow.
The One Ring.
This newish shaped object would then slowly start making its way to the ground and would seem to grow in size as it did, which would make complete sense as an object getting closer and closer towards you would get bigger.
And you've put in a photo of the One Ring. As soon as you said like the yellow writing, I was thinking of that flame writing.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was a ring. What do you mean by sort of change shape?
Because a ring is still a circular object.
Okay, so maybe it turned so they could see the hole in the middle, but it was still, yeah, okay. So it didn't actually change.
The object would get to around 1,000 feet above the village and then began to slowly fly back up into the sky as more looked on. The object returned back to the spot it was originally in and would then come down again. It would repeat this action over and over and over again for roughly just under an hour. Many of the residents would go back inside to wait for the electricity to come back on. Others would continue to stay there and watch the object. And at midnight, the object simply vanished.
It vanished? Just poof?
Vamos, son of a bitch.
How quick was it moving, did you say?
No.
Was it silent?
There was no record from Asfan of any sound.
Who may or may not exist. I found myself thinking as you were outlining that if you saw a UFO outside, like your first minute, 2 minutes, you're going to be mesmerised by it and still there watching. But if it's a little bit cold and then the UFO is just doing the same thing repeatedly, how long do you give it before you're bored and you go back in?
I don't know.
Like an hour is a pretty long time to stand outside in one spot.
It is, but I think what I would do at that point is probably go in and get something to warm myself up and come back out.
Get a hot chocolate.
And an Udi. I don't think I'd want to miss anything that could potentially happen. So the thought of people going back indoors for me, although plausible, is still bizarre.
It suggests to me that they worked out what it was and they thought it was like a sky lantern or something, for argument's sake.
Yeah, possibly.
Let's go. Whereas the other ones were like, holy shit, never seen a sky lantern before.
Yeah, they could have been like, nothing's happening, I'm done.
Yeah. Nothing to see here. The fact it's silent and it disappeared rather than flying off, again, makes me lean more towards like a sky lantern or a flare.
Something that just
goes up, gradually comes down, then disappears. Yeah.
These weren't the only people in the village to see the object. A wedding was taking place the same day in the town.
Was there a wedding photographer?
and they were also thrown into complete darkness. They waited, hoping the power would come back on, but we know that this didn't happen. Valturu was one of the local power plants. One of the guests of the wedding contacted someone there, and they were told that there was nothing wrong. Everything was in complete working order. So they assumed that the loss of power must have been due to a fault at another power plant in Foxani. At about 2 a.m, the guests that stayed at the wedding witnessed the power return. That was all that happened that evening.
So the power was off for a couple of hours.
Normally only lasts for about a minute.
What happened at the wedding with no power, no light? That could have been crazy. Usually into the late evening, people are starting to have a bit of a boogie. There's music, there's drinking. Once the lights and the music's gone, what do people do at that point?
Yeah, what is there to do? Others went home, and then others just stayed. What were you doing that entire time?
Every single guest.
The company that owned the power plants would conduct an investigation into what happened and would thoroughly check their equipment. And they found that there was no issue with either power plant.
Oh, that's suspicious.
Both were working as they should have been.
Ooh.
They did find that one of the plants, there was a transformer that was charred. But the charring of a transformer isn't anywhere near enough to cause a power outage. So this is the part of the probe where we turn to science and skepticism. Looking at the transmitter, it's possible that the wording was misinterpreted and it wasn't charred but fried, and this could be caused by faulty equipment. If it was charred, then it would mean that a significant amount of heat had hit it, but nothing surrounding the transmitter was charred. Was the red object in the sky the moon? A blood moon is a phenomenon that happens 2 to 4 times a year. Now, accounting for the movement of the object, did the object really move, or did they work out where this object was based on where the witnesses were standing, and were some of them in houses that were higher up?
I think you give them too much credibility. I don't think they put that much thought into it. It's when you said about the power companies having investigated and not found anything that they believed was to blame, that did make me wonder whether this was a military test, some sort of drone device in the sky with an electromagnetic charge of sorts to knock out the power grid and then fly away undetected. The fact that it moved slow and quiet might be to not be picked up by radar.
That's a very good point.
But the fact that Asfan were involved makes me question whether this happened at all. They don't strike me as the most credible organisation in that they can't spell their own name.
Dyslexia aside. So to summarise, we have a red object that appeared in the sky over a small village in Romania. A motorist saw the object and ran straight to the media. Local reporters flocked the following day and proceeded to investigate and asked the locals if they saw anything. The locals told them what happened about the red object in the sky and that they saw... Locals told them what happened. The red object in the sky, which they saw once they ventured outside of their houses due to a prolonged blackout. The object would slowly move towards them and then stopped and started spinning on its axis before changing shape and then moving towards the village and then back up again. This would do this for about just under an hour before it went back up and stopped before disappearing about midnight. The blackout also affected a wedding nearby, and most of the guests left, but some stayed and some contacted the power plant, but the power plant was running as it should and mentioned it may be caused by the other. At 2 a.m, power returned and those guests that didn't leave carried on partying. The next day, An investigation was held, and apart from finding a charred transmitter, there was nothing out of the ordinary at the power plants. So Greybeard, isn't really much here. Do you believe that this red object was extraterrestrial? A spy, maybe?
So I think spy technology, military technology, is the second most plausible theory. This thing didn't do anything to make me think extraterrestrial. One further theory I'll put out there is that most people at this point in life haven't ever seen a truly dark sky, because there's always house lights, street lights, some sort of light somewhere in the fairly near vicinity. Even if you're in the middle of a forest, you're usually able to see lights in the distance, which creates light pollution in the sky. If the sky is completely dark, no light anywhere around, then you do see different colours in the sky. You might see bits of aurora, you might see different coloured stars from sort of white to yellow to red, depending on the distance away and whatnot, blue. You mentioned a blood moon. The sun can turn red at times as it's setting or rising. And I think it's more likely that they saw something natural like that in the sky than anything. Doesn't feel not enough happened here to make me think it was controlled flight.
Okay, so not extraterrestrial?
I'm not saying that it was aliens, sorry.
Aren't you a spoil sport?
Well, I think you're about to join me.
No, not today.
I've got a space beside me.
I believe in Asfan.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm sitting right beside you. I do not believe this is extraterrestrial or alien in nature whatsoever. I don't even think this happened.
Well, you've gone a step further.
Everything about this is so vague that it seems like it was just written up to fill part of a page in terms of like an article in a magazine. There's no credible source, no one's named. A motorist just drives through and immediately goes to the press. That's odd. You mentioned it earlier. Why wasn't the authorities called? Not only that, it's 2001. There's no like photography. There's no pictures. There's no nothing. If all these people saw it, someone somewhere should have a camera and have a picture of this thing.
Yeah. It's a lot of people to not have one
camera.
Yeah.
I know mobile phones and cameras weren't a thing then, but a normal camera was. And there were so many like disposable cameras, everything like that. That kind of technology was about. So to not have a picture of it.
With an hour or so of sighting as well. It's not like it just turned up and then disappeared. It's the length of the sighting that makes me, suspicious that it's not anything.
Oh. That is it. I do not believe that this even happened.
I believe in Asfan.
Let alone it being extraterrestrial. So, thank you for joining us for this week's probe. You can find us everywhere at But It Was Aliens. That's Instagram, Facebook, now known as X. And we have a secret group known as Extraterrestrial Towers within the Book of Face, where you can find mummy memes and shit. And over at Patreon, /But It Was Aliens, you can gain access to Side Probes, the paranormal spin-off to But It Was Aliens, where we cover things like Pegging Princess, reincarnation, ghosts, ghost dogs, ghost demons, ghosts,
dogs with the power of hypnosis,
Rasputin's Winky, and much, much more. As always, I have been the bestest of best friends, and he's a diva. Remember, the truth is up there. #.